Our contributions in education will be our legacy in this industry.
Whether it's through live education or maybe through social media, we're always trying to make a personal connection with you, the learner.
At Sam Villa, we believe our smile is our business card, and our personality is our logo. And how we make people feel after you experience our education and tools is our trademark.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us, my friends, and be a part of the Sam Villa community.
Well, very good morning to you all. Good, happy Monday. Today's Mannequin Monday, so you know what that means. We're going to cut some hair, so I'm super excited about that. We have an incredible guest for you. Before we get too far into it, let's take care of a few notes, because don't worry if you missed Black Friday, because Cyber Monday is here, and you can also get your bundle up deals. So head to samvia.com for the Cyber Monday deals. That's going to last until December 4th. So you got a little bit of time. So that's happening today. So you get your deals. Awesome. And we do have The Show Must Go On coming up this weekend, December 7th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. So this is going to be a really fun show. We've got Braden Peltier, who is a Redken artist, and he has a salon called Just Be Hair Salon. It's in Atlanta, Georgia. Very cool place. And we also have Jamie DeGracia, who is a stylist and salon owner. She's also a wall creative consultant. And then you have Sam and myself, and we're going to be just cutting some hair off. So as you can see, the title of the show is Just Cut It Off. We're also going to be raising money for the PBA Disaster Relief Fund. So good opportunity to do some giving back, not just purchasing. So we have that coming up this weekend. Also this week, today, of course, we've got our friend Ira, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But tomorrow we've got Transformation Tuesday with Ruth Roach. What? And Wellness Wednesday, we have our guest, Yurish Hooker, who is an amazing educator, artist, and entrepreneur. He's going to be talking about how, in the absence of one resource, another appears. Just as a reminder too, Sam does still have a class that you can enter to win a $500 share package, and going to be an awesome hands-on class December 6th. That's from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern. You can register for that at redkenpro.com/education. So yeah, and that's it for the announcements. Oh my gosh. Whew. Thank God, because we want to see some haircutting, right? So super, super happy to have this gentleman on. Ira's been in the industry since 1994. The cool thing is he still looks like he's 22 years old, so he must have started when he was 1, I guess. But he worked at Robert Cromeans Salon for over 13 years. He was voted one of the top 2 hairdressers at Robert Cromeans Salons 2 years in a row. He is educated on platforms across the planet, so we're super excited to have him here. He's also developed his own cutting concept, which is called the clock cutting concept, which that's really what I know what he's going to share a lot about with us today. And this is super cool. It fits with us so perfectly because we believe that there's so many different ways to approach haircutting. So it's so cool that Ira has the ability to share with us something totally unique, totally fresh. So let's get him in here. Everyone put your hands together. Say hello, Ira, in the chat.
Hello.
And there he is, Mr. Ira Hope Sage.
Hello, everybody. I'm very grateful, very honored to be here, a part of this Sam Villa education. Thank you, Andrews. Thank you, Sam, for having me a part of it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Angle is just a little nicer. You see my prisms. I have window treatments up, so you get cool, pretty prisms on the wall. Don't mind me.
Yeah. When Ira popped on, I was like, dude, you have like a rainbow around you. This is so cool.
It's my vibes. I just keep pushing vibes. Let's see. There we go.
Awesome. So,
These are some two looks that are going to be similar to what I'll be working with, basically. Going to be more of this type of length feel, working more of a bob type of play and shape throughout there, but with some layers that are quite short through here in comparison. This one here, you can see longer version, all just air dried too. Nothing at all like style on this. This was from my one-on-one last week that I did.
Nice.
And you can see again this contrast of, go this way, contrast of the length here. Let me pull this right out like this. There we go. Contrast of the length on this side here to this right next to it here. Extremely disconnected, but quite fluid. As you can see, there's no really heavy weight lines. And to me, that's a very cool thing to be able to acquire. I've really been pushing a lot of disconnection over the last couple of years and really enjoying all the play that I get with it, the new options that I get with it, and the whole different view on shape, really. This connection really leaves hair in areas that either leaves or takes away hair in areas, and it changes the whole game of how hair can flow and move and respond, basically. So I really like that. What I'm going to be teaching today with you guys is these type of looks. I'll be sharing it to you within my clock cutting concept. I had years ago in 2007, I was in Rome, Italy, doing a hair show with Paul Mitchell, actually. And my girlfriend at the time, Sophia, was there with me. And there was Italian-speaking girls, Russian-speaking girls, German-speaking girls, French-speaking girls, all these other languages other than English. And the instructor, the dance instructor, said pirouette or some kind of ballet term like that, and they all just did the move. And I immediately got goosebumps all over my body. I was very envious of what they had because they spoke different languages daily, but they all spoke the same language of ballet. And I was envious, and I wish that we had that as hair cutters. Of course, Sassoon wrote the first write-up of the first Bible of sorts for cutting hair, and it was a quality one. But since then, there's been all kinds of different disciples since, basically. There's been different manufacturers, different educators, all just sorts of different things that have come through and changed and added to what was. And is what should happen through time. Technology and advancements of knowledge should create simplicity and ought to thrive to make it even better and easier to understand. And that's a quest that I'm on right now, for sure. I mean, I know Sam Vila Education is as well.
Yeah.
So with that, I knew I couldn't go through and erase the past, say that word over direction. There's so many different definitions for the word over direction. I only see over direction to be a side-to-side movement, controlling the horizontal dimension. Some people say over direct up, and that can confuse my very little brain. So I hope I said literal, not little. Anyway, either way. So since that can confuse me, I try to take away confusion as much as possible. And I don't know too many people that use protractors as an indicator for many things in life, truly, other than maybe architectures and people of that manner. So I utilize time. I believe that time is one of the most valuable things that we have as humans. Anyone that says time is money, I don't really think they've thought that through, and they just listened to what's been said. Time is the most valuable thing that we have before breath. Breath is the number one most valuable thing that we have as humans. And so I value breath, I value time, and clocks are what we use to indicate time and measure time. So I took, if you would, please play with me, take a clock on a wall. So imagine a clock on a wall, put that on the floor, have it face upward. With that clock faced upward, there we go, with that clock faced upward, imagine then the nose is being 12 o'clock, the back, the right ear is being 3 o'clock, the back vertebrae is being 6 o'clock, the left ear is being 9 o'clock. Those are the primary hours. Just like with color, we have primary and secondary hours and tertiary. Primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. I took the word tertiary, and I'm not a big fan of it, so I didn't put that into my clock cutting concept, but we do have the primary hours, 12, 3, 6, and 9. The secondary hours are the access points, or where those primary hours would meet in the middle. So if 12 and 3 o'clock were to start walking at the same time together, they would come and meet right at the front right corner of 1:30. So please understand the camera is backwards on the thing. So this is actually the right side here, 1:30. The 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock would meet at 4:30, back right corner, 7:30 and 10:30. I hope you guys can all see and understand that then. So those 8 hours give us an understanding of, again, what time or times we cut at as per what shape we're looking to acquire on a horizontal dimension, from front to back or from back to front, from side to side, basically. So if I were to pull everything back and cut it at 6 o'clock, it would be shortest at 6, longer towards 12. A-line, triangle bob, Mormon bob, Karen, call the manager, call it what you want. That's what it's going to do. Yeah. If we were to pull everything forward and cut it at 12 o'clock, it would be shortest at 12, longer towards 6, round, shag, mullet. Again, call it what you want. That's what it's going to do. If we were to pull everything back to the secondary hour of 4:30, it would be shortest at 4:30, longer towards 12 on the 3 o'clock side, and even longer towards 12 on the 9 o'clock side because it had further time travel. I hope you guys can see that on how the different hours create different lengths again on the profile, on the whole horizontal dimension. The next thing I'm going to focus on with you guys today is talking about the vertical dimension. And within the vertical dimension, that's definitely in tradition where they talk about degrees, and there's 180 of them. They become very confusing for a lot of us, I think. There's numbers with corners with circles on them that become even more confusing. I'm not too much concerned about degrees other than my armpits. I get a little body odor. I remind people I'm vegan and I move on. Just kidding, kind of. But I look at, so for the vertical dimension, I look at time of day more so, okay? So on the vertical dimension, I look at if a section of hair, if I pull a section out, whether it's horizontal or vertical, if I pull a section of hair out, if it is parallel to the floor and to the ceiling, that is right at noon. If it is at all earlier than noon, as it is right now, the coffee's not kicked in. I'm more of a night owl, personally. The coffee's not kicked in. I'm building up weight. I'm in graduation land. As soon as I hit noon, parallel to the floor and ceiling, that's right when I start to reduce the weight of the morning. The coffee started to kick in. As soon as I get above noon, I've reduced the weight. Coffee's kicked in. I'm in layer land. Yeah. So right at noon, parallel to the floor and ceiling. Below noon, graduation land. Above noon, layer land. So I keep it into those 3 spots. Yeah. So I hope with that understanding, that gives you again a vision hopefully of the horizontal dimension. Again, what time or times we cut it as per what shape we're looking to acquire horizontally, and then parallel to floor and ceiling is noon. Below noon, building weight, graduation land. Above noon, reducing weight into layer land.
This is great, Ira, because it takes something that I definitely agree with you. I think a lot of people get kind of confused by like, okay, well, what's 0, what's 90, what's 180? And for some people, the way that their head, their brain and their heart works, they're going to attach to the description that you're giving of different points within the clock so much easier. So it's great that there's so many different ways to describe this because it can connect so much differently. And, just in the chat, if this speaks more to you than things like 90 degrees, 180 degrees, just say loving it in the chat for us.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, again, Andrew, you're sounding like Terminator to me again. So I apologize. I'm sure there's a lot of great things said there, but I didn't get to hear it. So please bear with me to the fact that I have no clue what you just said. It just sounded like Terminator.
We hear you okay.
So what I'm going to do then, the haircut I'm going to work with today, what I've done already, again, those 2 haircuts I showed you are like the vibes and the play of what I'm going to be working into. So basically a disconnected bob. I've already went through and cut the bob line into place last night. And then I've gone through, for sake of time, and disconnected or drew in my sections. And how I drew my sections is just to show you. What I did is I combed all the hair forward into a natural fall. Then I went over here to 3 o'clock and I drew a line just down to the backside, somewhere between 3 o'clock and 4:30 area. And then I just took and I found where like this, and I found where the round of the head changed. Right there was the line. So I took right from that line that was drawn back here. I found this and I drew a line forward while standing at 1:30. Then I went over to the 9 o'clock side and drew another line over here, and then drew that line through while standing at 10:30. And then I came back to the back sides. I had these corners already up here then, so I just drew these through. So it's all working inside the box. This whole idea, truly, I'm not a fan personally of thinking outside of the box. I think we should personally learn the rules and maximize the rules as much as possible, utilize the rules, and we should certainly think inside the box personally. I subscribe to that a little bit more than thinking outside of the box. I think that the box I'm fortunate that I'm living in a box. Without a box, I would have no home. And a box has consistency and has boundaries. So I like to play within rules for the fact of learning from Sam back in the day. That's the rule of gravity. You let go of it. You can call it letting go of the comb. You can call it dropping the comb. Call it whatever you want, but that's the rule of gravity. And I like rules because I can depend on rules. And I can have understanding of what they're going to do and maximize them. So, and also to add on to what that is, I know that when I drop or let go of this comb, that's gravity, the rule of gravity is happening, but then I also know that there's a floor that's going to stop it. And that floor is to get a boundary and a safety within the rules of the box. I highly recommend you learn the rules and play within the box as much as possible. What I would love to, guys, if you would, I would love if you guys went through and took a little screenshot of this at some time and posted it onto your Instagram. That'd be, and to tag me, again, Ira Pope Sage, please and thank you. Anyway, so I'm gonna take right here, I'm gonna go right forward here at 12 o'clock. I'm gonna stand right at 12 o'clock. I wanna have fingers with sections. So I'm gonna take my finger, take right here at the center. I take my middle finger here at the center, go this, and bring it right to the top. Put my comb on the 3 o'clock side, comb down, take right through. So I comb out a fingers width section to start. And I'll be playing with fingers width sections throughout this haircut, as I feel that that's a good size to work with. It's not too big, it's not too small. I like to have cleanliness as much as possible. It guides me to keep my brain relaxed and at ease. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this first section right down this 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock line. Yeah, and those things come over the top too. So this is the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock line. There's the 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock line, the 10:30, 4:30 line, the 10:30, 7:30 line. They all flow and go together. Yeah. So I'm gonna take this first one here. I'm a right-hander, I'm a grown-up. So I stand at 9 o'clock to cut more of a convex layer. So what I mean by convex is that, of course, not even of course, but convex follows the head shape and contours the head shape. Concave would oppose the head shape. Yeah, I'm going to follow the head shape so it hugs into the head. So I'm using the rule of convex so that it follows and hugs the head. I'm also going to decide where I need to start cutting at. That's an important thing, what length to go at. So in finding that length, I need to first be respectful, like be nice and loose on this, and find it in a soft manner. So I'm not squeezing, I'm not stretching it down. Let's say I want to start with, I want to have bangs that live right around the mid area. This area goes in there, so it's a good area to play with right there. So I'm gonna play with right that bridge of the nose there. And so I can take a look and see how much hair I'm leaving, because it's gonna be, again, I'm cutting in the back area. I need to see how much hair I'm leaving because it's convex and I'm cutting in the back. I hope you guys can see and gather that. So I can see that that's about half the length of the comb. So I can go ahead and come right back here then. Right back to that first part in the back. I'm gonna try to stay 100 today, meaning 100 of my comb. I'm gonna only play with the wide tooth, or sorry, only the wide tooth or only the fine. I'm not gonna do half fine, half wide. I'm gonna stay between my fingers and stay 100, never cutting past my second knuckle. I can know that that's about halfway the comb. Also, I want to make sure that I am straight up and down with each section. Again, just like the floor was there and utilizing the floor, I'm going to not have this. While staying at 9 o'clock, I can make sure I'm not leaning towards either 6 o'clock or 12 o'clock. So I can see that very clearly. And then I can make sure that I'm just straight up and down here. Yeah, so I have a very consistent boxy foxy floor here. Okay, so I comb this up. And I work through, cut the second knuckle and stop. And then what I'm going to do is just release some of this. Go right on down to the next one. Again, I want to play convex, so I want to make sure I'm very aware of the roots. I want to make sure I follow those roots and be really reading those roots to make sure I don't go through and create any weird like J's, basically. I want to make sure that those roots are coming straight out of the head, and I'm never seeing the roots be pushed or pulled up towards 6 o'clock or towards the back area, making it more of a then concave. length, and shape. And what concave is going to do is make it flip out a little bit more. And I'm not looking for it to flip out. Okay, I'll take this first one, comb through, and take a look through. If I can comb through and see that it just flows through from here to here, I don't see any weird flipping up or anything. I hit towards my target there. I can go ahead and continue on. Yeah. So then I'll take the next section. Another fingers width section. Staying at either 12 o'clock or 10:30 to do that. I personally, again, come to the front part of the head as opposed to drawing the section from the back, because what will happen is if you draw it from the back or here at 9 o'clock, you won't quite get as straight. So what we're going to focus on is combing direction. It's going to be very important to, again, create this more convexy shape from 9 to 3 and from 3 to 9. We want to follow the head shape. So we want to make sure we're combing to the outside. And I simply focus on combing to the outside. So on both the 3 o'clock side, which is the right side, and this 9 o'clock side, while sitting at 9 o'clock, I will cut both sides simply thinking of combing to the outside. That way, think of one thing. If you think of combing to me on this side and combing away from me there, it's too many things to think about, I think. Keep it simple. So I'm going to comb to the outside because of the fact that, again, my goal is to acquire more of a convexy shape from 3 to 9. So I can comb this over, making sure as I'm combing over, that's going to make sure that I'm straight up here. If I were to utilize the mirror, I would have the mirror behind me. So I would be more this position here. I'd have my model or client or doll head in either situation face the 6 o'clock to the mirror. So that way I can see the tips of my fingers. And that way I can see that over direction take place. Yeah, or that shift, either way, call it what you want. Drop that down, together. Again, reading these roots to make sure that I'm following the head shape as to not be lifting the hair up off of its base, making it more of a concave.com shape. I'm looking again for convex.com. I'm looking to hug the head. Also, what I do is I make sure I comb out each section and check each section as I go. So that way, if there's any off kind of stuff going on, I clean it immediately, as opposed to building more and more off and getting more and more off. I want to keep it in a very clean manner, keep it controlled. So far, so good. So I can take the first finger and comb that away. It's no longer important in this shape that we're going on. So I'm going to take the next, join another finger into play. So this is going to, this whole manner of the shaping is a little different than the typical American type of shape, because so often we as Americans do section 1, cut section 1, and then bring section 2 to section 1, and then bring section 3 to section 2. And we're going to be very different on this. We're bringing section 1 to section 2, section 2 to section 3. So everything's being cut on its base. Yeah, there's no, again, it's convexy. Convex, so it's there's no over direction, there's no over elevations. It's all cut above noon, being it's layer land. But again, following the head shape from 9 to 3, following the head shape from 12 to 6. Again, see that that's combing through nicely. Comb the first previous finger away. Grab the next one. If you're wondering, if you're getting down to that last finger, should I make it wider or smaller? Always go smaller than wider if you're in that question position, due to the fact that you want to be more slow and in control than to be fast or to be large and out of control. I recommend personally. As you get into these corners, this can get kind of weird feeling to be pulling hair out this far, just saying, and cutting it. It's not normal zones for us to really be cutting hair out sometimes. So you have to really have faith in your mirror. That would be back over here. You got to really have faith in your combing to know that, and really have faith in just simply reading those roots. Really reading those roots are so important. I think so often people think so much about the hair that they're cutting off and not being in mind and being aware of the hair that's being left. The hair that's being left on the head truly is the most important. The hair that's being cut off the head may be 10% important, where the hair that's being left on the head is at least the 90% important, as that's the result of the haircut. So definitely be very mindful of the head shape and what you're leaving on the head. So again, way out here, which is not quite on the normal situation in a lot of layers that you're working with. But to be out here, this will allow it to, again, be more convex and allow it to hug the head as it falls down. So that way you don't see as much of a contrast of the short lengths that are in this top area compared to the longer lengths that are going to be in the bottom area. So take a look at this whole first 9 o'clock side coming into place very nicely. I can see that immediately everything just sits down, sits into place nicely. So I can feel good and confident. I can go ahead and continue on to the 3 o'clock side then. I'm gonna do everything in the same manner while still standing at 9 o'clock. Just regain some moisture. I'm big into equality, and I like to have equality of consistent moisture throughout the hair. So that way I have a consistent message and story being told to me. I don't have any scenarios where it's inconsistent then. Comb this down and see where I've cut previously to see where I can go ahead and draw out. So I have a proper guide right now in this 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock line here. Comb goes out of the way. Draw in another, add another finger's width on this 3 o'clock side. Again, trying to stay clean and in control the whole time as much as possible. Now, again, we're going to comb to the outside. Simply combing to the outside. And that's the beauty by having just the one mindset of knowing that I need to comb to the outside. It can keep me in so much more control of things. There's my guide, making sure, again, I have a consistent floor back here. I'm not leaning over to 6 o'clock or to 12 o'clock. There's just a consistent floor that happens there. Now,
Tyler, are you able to hear me, or do I still sound like the Terminator?
Gosh, I'm sorry. I wish I could hear you well, Andrew. You feel free to talk to your people if you need to, and I can be quiet.
I'm just going to let him cut since I don't think he can hear me. So,
And I really wish I could understand you. That would be helpful, but I apologize, Bill. So I'm going to continue on. I'll take then disconnect again or not disconnect, but comb away the first section now. Now dealing with the next 2 fingers, basically. So just moving over towards the 3 o'clock side. Again, combing and working towards the outside. So that way I get my finger in the right spot as to acquire, again, this more convex shape from 9 to 3, from ear to ear, from side to side. Call it what you want. And again, be very mindful with each one. I'm definitely checking out and gauging in at that root. That root can let you know where you're at in the head. The root can let you know the shape of the head. The root can tell you so much of where you're at, where you need to be. It's one of the best indicators to have. I'm very big into indicators. I want to be able to see things as well as possible and read things as well as possible. So getting there's a little thing that happens here with the comb. I'll show you this too. So when you're working in these corners, you definitely want to turn your comb up so that way you utilize the teeth to hold that hair in there so that way it doesn't just fall forward or fall down basically. So really getting in there and twisting those hairs up, but making sure in that twist that you're not elevating or pulling that hair too much to yourself to pull you away from, again, a convex shape from 3. one more section here, which we do. Comb away the previous. So of course you could take this whole thing in the simple way to do this would be just to bring everything, say, flat. Everything would be flat from 6 to 12, which would make it more concave as it came to the front. It'd be very flippy, which is very trendy, of course. And it would be square from 9 to 3. That's what is much more commonly taught, I think, in shapes of disconnected layers like this, because that's the more kind of, no disrespect, that's more the safe route, really. To make a square box on top is pretty easy. To oppose the head is not hard, I think. To follow the head shape is a little bit more complicated. You have to be much more aware and in tune with things, and that is a much more of that's more similar to, say, a graduation where layer is taking away weight, graduation is building weight. Also with graduation have to have more of a eased mind and to be much more aware of the shape that you're building, the area of the head you're at, all of those kind of things really come into play. So we can start to see, as this is that whole 12 o'clock side now's cut, we can start to see how this just sits into place very nicely, right in that area there. So looking good, you'll be able to see a silhouette again of the hairline because it was convex following the head shape. Yeah. Now I'm going to work to the back area. What I'm going to do before that, what I'll do is I'll just take a finger switch section. You guys can see the line right through here. So this is the separation I did through here. In this back area too, what I did is I separated right here, right along the O bone. So that way, right on that wide area of the head, I separated a line and just drew it up. So that way I can go ahead and cut everything again inside of this box, much shorter, much more disconnected, and much more extreme due to the fact that I'm playing safe by utilizing the rules of the head shape and working within that bone structure. So now I'm just taking a finger switch section, combing it to the back. By combing it to the back, this will then be my guide. So that way I have something to work off from, which is always very, very friendly to me. I need to have things to where it's really easy for me to kind of see as I'm working.
Hey, Ira.
Yes. Yeah, I hear you great there, Andrew.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, fantastic.
Oh,
no more Terminator.
How funny. I'm actually on my I had to like log in with my phone instead of through my fancy computer so you could hear me.
Well, awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. How you doing, Andrew?
Hey, I did want to ask a quick question because so as you're talking through that top with your reference points of the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, if you were taking those sections not just straight off the head, and if you were maybe over directing back, how would you explain that differently with those clock points?
So
Does that
let
make
me
sense?
understood you correctly. So if I were to be cutting the section and if I were to kind of shift the section back, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I were to shift, any kind of shifting, obviously there's going to be opposing reaction basically. So if I were to shift and just think about my buddy DJ real quick, DJ Muldoon, he said one of the most brilliant things I've heard a haircutter or haircutter say. He said haircutting is pull away from what you want to keep. And I get goosebumps every time I say it. To me, it's the most profound thing that's been said. And if you can always remember that whenever you're in a situation that you're trying to create something different for you that you've not seen, always have in mind, pull away from what you want to keep. So as you said, if you're to shift to any side, so then I hope then it becomes very visual. If I were to shift the hair back to 6, it's going to get longer towards 12. Yeah, or shift the hair back to the back of the head, it's going to get longer towards the face. And just the same, the opposing factor. If I shift it towards 12, it's going to get longer towards the front. But that's also same in the manner that I have flat fingers. Because you could oppose and still create balance and still create flatness. I could shift to 12 and do a round finger line, more shorter at, let me go opposing, sorry. I can shift to 12 and go a triangular finger line to where it's shorter at 6 or lower at 6 and higher at 12. And when it comes back to being pulled straight up, it would be flat.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to really keep all those things in mind of the head, where the head's sitting at. So I cut her head in this top area, all in a natural head position. I'm not shifting back or to any of the sides or the front. Just keep it in a natural position. So that way I can still stay in a very natural floor position. And that's why I keep that kind of floor there. So I'll keep the very next section that I'll be working with. I'll move my body. Right now I'm set at 9 o'clock. I'll move, which is the left ear. I'll move over to the 9 o'clock, to the left, to the right ear, over here to 3 o'clock. And then with that, I can then see then while standing at 3 o'clock and cutting from the beginning, say the 12 o'clock side to the 6 o'clock side, then I can go through and have this guide already there clear for me. So that way I can see that contrast of what's, let me take the clip out and then I can show you the contrast of what's been cut and what's going to be cut. Now in this back area, as I'm working through, I'm going to work, it's going to become a little bit more easy, if you will, in the manner that, when I say easy, simply because we've done it more often, in a sense of it's going to be that traditional, very American style to take section 1 and then bring section 2 to section 1, bring section 3 to section 2, that whole traveling guide combing inward, basically, like we're very used to doing, more of a concave shape from 3 to 9, from side to side. Yeah. So since I'm going to be combing to the inside, it's going to slightly get longer to the outside. And it's just going to go to the previous, so that's why I say slightly get longer. So from 3 to 9, then the shape is going to be more concavey. And then from 12 to 6, it's going to work convexy to into concavey. And when I use these Y's, as far as in concavey as opposed to concave, so look at concave as being really longer. Concave is going to, again, 1 part in, 2 parts out. So think about the out more often, what it does. Don't only think cave in, because in my literal brain, I always heard cave in, and that's not what concave does, really. The ends kick out. So think of what it does when it falls and it kicks out. Yeah. So concave is extreme kick out. Concavey, put a Y in anything, it becomes softer. So concavey is softer kick out. Convexy is softly opposed or mirroring the head, and then convex is definitely strongly mirroring the head. Yeah. So I'm going to work convexy into concavey. So first, I'll take this first section here. This will be combed straight up again, finding a floor. So here's my floor. Here's my guide here. So here's the previous, and here's what's about to be cut all through here. I take that, comb that straight up. Again, just work to my second knuckle and stop. And I drop and gather some below. Again, follow the head shape here on my second section or so, working into this bottom area, still following the head, still working more convex. And now I'm going to softly start to elevate the hair a little bit more as to allow it to build a little bit more length as it works into the bottom lengths that will be there. So this will then come down and just softly fill in, and you can see it will fall in there because it's just soft. I'm not making it super concave to where it would definitely flip out a lot. I'm certainly not making it super convex to where it has a too much of a contrast, basically. I want it to softly flow in there. So I can comb this first one through too, just to check to see that it's working through in a nice fluid manner, and it is. So I can continue on. Take the next section. Another fingers width section. Comb the fuchsia away, groom it and twist it away so it's controlled and just waiting there politely for me. Comb the next section into, so section 2 into section 1 now. Again, reading those roots to make sure that I'm following the head shape for the first section or two as I'm working down, and then I Then I'm starting to build length softly, working into more of a concave into at the bottom. Comb that through to see how that falls. That's good. Taking first fingers with section, comb that away. Join the next one in. Again, make sure I have a consistent floor going straight up. Just thinking of Paula Abdul there. Again, reading, combing to the inside. Reading those roots to work more convex into concave. Following down again, good. Combing away the previous fingered section there then. And get the next one. As we're starting to work to the outside, you'll start to see this happen, which is a really cool thing, I think. Because of the fact that we went convexy into the front, and now we're working concave. So we comb to the outside in the front, now we're combing to the inside in the back, and look at this contrast of length. This is the front. This was our guide on the inside, and now we've already started to shift from here to up here. Our guide's shifting up now because of the change in the direction of which we comb, which is, to me, awesome stuff, and awesome how you can just change that the whole option of freedom. Again, disconnection gives freedom. Disconnection gives space for the hair to play around without resistance. Just so valuable. Again, here's our previous guide from combing to the outside on the front. And then here's our new back guide way up here from combing to the inside, making again more concave from 9 to 3 in this back area.
Hey, Ira.
Man, the sound's down again. Back to Terminator.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Here, let me. Can you hear me now?